Hi, my name is the Flying Historian. Are you looking to get that sweet fixin' of aviation goodness to suppress those growling dogs in your system? Or perhaps to prevent the demons from finally taking charge for the next 6 or so months? Are you looking for a great place to take the wee little ones out? A way out from the gaming goon mansion to finally touch some grass? Looking to impress the missus with your just biggest of big brain takes, like that the F-14 is best girl? I'll fight you. I don't play, brother. Your plain foo ain't got nothing on these hands. Looking to escape? Well then, I have good news for you. I've got 17, yes, 17, count them, 17 different museums which I have so kindly ranked for your adventurous pleasure. Now, I have been to many aviation museums, not just the ones listed, but this list contains only the ones that I've been to most recently and most thoroughly. Therefore, I feel like my grading here is more fair and justified. Share your favorite places in the comments below. I beg you, do it now. It helps the channel grow. I'll be focusing on aviation, armor, and floating museums. If a museum has just a few items that fall into these categories, but doesn't focus entirely on them, then I'm probably not going to include them. Now, if I feel like their collection is important, despite their size, I might include them. If you are confused by that, let me offer some clarification in the form of the golden rule for this list. My list, my rules, bite me. We'll be doing things real simple. S for toppest of tiers, bestest of boys, A for great, B for good with some oofs, C for, yeah, alright, and F for total and complete failures. No participation trophies in this here list. I do have some common specifications which I use to help rank each of my judgments. I've judged each museum based on their size, how much of a pain it is to get to them, with the starting point mostly being the nearest travel hub or major city. Access to these museums is very important to me, as we aren't all made of money. Spectacle, which is to say, is there something worthy of seeing, or is there a centerpiece that really takes, well, center stage? What kind of resources do they have? Do they have a library, tours, cool store, etc.? Finally, what are some of the learning opportunities? Can the museum be used as an effective teaching tool? And that's basically it. Alright, enough talk. Let's get to it. It's pretty large, consisting of about 7 separate collections. The Great Hall, the Space Palace, the Red Barn, which is sort of like the garage your grandpa sometimes goes into, full of tools that haven't been used since the time of less than savory terms to describe certain groups, the World War I and World War II halls, the Space Palace II Electric Boogaloo, and the Outdoor Aircraft Pavilion. Each collection is stocked with artifacts from their assigned themes. Most are self-explanatory, or at least I'd hope. The Museum of Flight isn't a bad option when choosing where to take your rabid airplane lover. They cater to the likes of many different kinds of aviation enthusiasts. The civil aviation lover, sometimes referred to as the 747 nerd, or if you are European, the droop snoot connoisseur.
The Concorde featured a droop snoot.
Droop snoot?
Yeah, the snoot would droop.
The snoot drooped.
The general I've loved planes my whole life grandpa and or butch lesbian, your World War II DCS players or World War I IL-2 flying circus player, and of course the I say I prefer jet fighters cause prop planes all look the same, but actually I just have a very rambunctious inner child who has refused to let go of his jet plane go brr fascination guy. In terms of getting to the museum, it's super easy. Very human. It's just outside the heart of downtown Seattle, coffee capital of the US, and natural habitat of the invasive Amazonian species. One can get there by bus or car without much issue, plenty of parking, and the bus drops you off right outside the museum. The museum has much to offer in the fabulous department. The unforgettable SR-71 centerpiece in the Great Hall is by far the crown jewel of the museum. An F-1 engine from a Saturn V rocket sits in the Space Gallery, a trainer space shuttle in the other space-related building. Of course, you've got these girls who, if you are familiar with the channel, you know are quite infamous here. The museum also has one of the largest collections of scale models I have ever seen. If you are a researcher or fellow historian, the museum offers great resources, including free hourly tours of their various collections, each tour being slightly different as each guide has their own interests and sometimes stories to share. The museum also offers access by reservation to their wonderful library and archive. I have worked with the librarians and archivists here many times, and it has always been a hoot. By far, the Museum of Flight is my favorite when it comes to teaching others about the history of aviation. Their collections offer just the right amount of material to teach basically anything, and the chronological way the museum displays their various collections also makes teaching so much easier. Plus, massive shout out to the model displays. Virtually any visual I need while giving a tour or trying to explain variants to people, for example, sits in these displays. Love it. And these are mostly why I'm putting the Museum of Flight into the S tier. Starting off strong. Alright, next is...
Oh, great heavens!
Yeah, I'm not reading that. You don't pay me anything. Ugh. Alright. Next, you have to have Skibbity Riz in order to get to this yacht in Ohio. I hate you. This place is huge. Like, I don't think you get how freaking large this place is. It's just 4 hangars, but they feel like those Area 51 hangars from the bad Indiana Jones movie. Just be prepared to be walking for a while, both indoors and out, especially if you are looking to go see the Jumbo Snoot Man. Thankfully, they have great air conditioning, at least when I was there. Okay, so you can theoretically land at the Dayton International Airport and then take 2 hours, 3 buses, and a bit of a hike to get to the museum, or rent a car and take a 20-minute joyride to the museum. All in all, not the easiest to get to, but man, if you can make it, it'll be worth it. If you only have a day, speedrun tactics are your best bet. Lots of bunny hopping tricks, and a few challenging wall glitches, but with a little practice you should be able to get through it. In all seriousness, you'll want a few days to enjoy this place. I know that means extended stays in Ohio, but trust me, it's worth it. The whole museum is a spectacle. I'm surprised my little aviation heart didn't go nuclear when I walked in. This place has a gargantuan collection, but if I had to pick just one thing that truly blew my mind, it would be the XF-85 Goblin. Just kidding. No, it's their B-36 Peacemaker. I don't think you understand the true scale of this thing until you see it up close. I've been here twice, and each time I have seen this mighty girl, I still get flabbergasted. Plenty. Library, some tours, though you sorta have to be diligent about asking for them. And of course, massive collection. As for learning opportunities, it's like the Museum of Flight if all the models they had were also full-scale artifacts. S tier. Ah yes, the Nation of Tea! Tally-ho, my good sir! Decent size, a bit deceitful. Might I say, it's bigger on the inside. No, but really, this museum is like 2 notches bigger than how big you think it is. Mostly due to the larger hangar which holds most of their World War II and early Cold War collection. This museum is a bit of a distance from London Heathrow, about an hour and a half by both car and the tube. If you are taking public transit, good on ya, but be prepared for a little walk before getting to the museum. What you'll see everywhere is a picture of their Lancaster and some of the surrounding exhibits. That area isn't bad, but most memorable to me was getting to explore a short Sunderland flying boat. That was awesome. Did you know that this old gal had toilets? Or At least one? Very fancy. A bunch of stuff. The staff were sparse when I visited, but not bad, and there are plenty of areas for the little ones to burn some calories. And if you pay a little extra, you can even sit in the cockpit of some of their planes. The museum was surprisingly packed, and there are plenty of opportunities to use their artifacts as teaching tools. I even gave an impromptu tour myself while I was there. I hate to do this for the British, but this is going in S tier. Hello there. The Flying Heritage and Combat Armor Museum, I would say, is of a fairly standard size when it comes to museums, so nothing too hard for the little ones or any older family members you're bringing along. Old? Like you? Wait, hey, no! Getting there by train and bus would be an adventure, though this museum leans more toward car trip. It is a bit out of the way in comparison to our other museums. However, you can fly into the nearby airport on select airlines. They are quite the package deal here, but the spectacle really comes from the fact that most of their artifacts are working models. There's just something different about standing in front of a piece of history that still has that roar in it. Yep, maybe don't stand too close to that one. Back before the event. This museum used to host fairly regular air shows. I'm glad they survived. There was a big worry there for a while, but I hope they resume those shows again soon. Their collection is quite special, and if you're a tank buff, there is something for you there too. I always like a little variety in my aviation tea. A tier. Stay strong, guys. She float, and she mighty. This is the USS Turner Joy, and if you've been looking for a bigger boat, this might be your girl. Unless you are going after those new sharks. I don't think this is going to do much. She's a destroyer, but don't let her class fool you. You can spend a full day on this ship if you take your time. To get here, it can be quite the adventure. Take the light rail downtown to the ferry station before hopping onto one headed for Bremerton. A bit of a trek for sure, but a scenic one. As for spectacle, I don't know, it's a whole freaking boat. What do you want from me? Has a gift shop, if that's what floats your boat. The ship is jam-packed with information, and they allow for self-guided tours, which is by far my favorite for these museum ships. I really enjoyed conducting research here, and I'm sure you'll have a great time. A tier. This place is large, definitely not for the faint of heart. Well worth seeing their collection though. Their main building is real big for a reason many of you may already know, but even their space and modern aviation wing is substantial. Dude, they have it. What? The hole. By far one of the most inconvenient to get to, unless you own a helicopter, I guess. This museum is out there. This is a road trip stop for sure. The piece de resistance is 100% this bird. If you are looking to, at any time, check off your bingo card seeing the original billionaire's cock rocket project that the government wanted to get a little in on, then this museum has you covered. They've got a cute little library, and make sure to listen out for their volunteer docents when they call out tour times, which are free, by the way. Quite a lot of cool stuff to see, especially if you are a helicopter nerd. Haven't seen so many unique helicopters in one museum before. The collection makes up for all of the downsides, few as there are, the museum has. Solid A tier. Alright. Where is she? Oh, she's small. Being a destroyer escort, this gal is going to be on the smaller side of your floating museums. She did not take a whole day like other ships, maybe 2 to 2.5 hours at most. Getting here by public transit is a bit of a hassle. You gotta take the piss bus from the airport to the water. It'll take you about an hour. Or you can take a 20-minute drive. Common theme on most of these, not very backpacker friendly here in the States. There is not much ship, but plenty to see, especially if you pay just a little extra to see their special exhibit, which is in the snoot of the ship. There, they have a ton of artifacts. I highly recommend paying the little extra. It is a tour-required ship, but they have their tours down to a T, and at least the tour guide I went with made the whole trip for me. He was fantastic, and I really enjoyed my time. A tier. My goodness. This place is huge! The hangars are decently sized, but it's a journey from one to the next. Need a little golf cart or something. This one is also real tough to get to. I've got quite the tale about using public transit to eventually reach the museum, but that'll be for another day. Just know that it was one of the largest parking lots I've seen in Europe. Really helped with the homesickness I was experiencing at the time, and I guess their odd America-only building helped too. Beyond the size, I'd say that the presence of many British heavy bombers, as well as the show put on by some of the planes you can fly in periodically, are the spectacles of this place. I mean, you tell me you wouldn't be gawking up at this strange bird if you saw it soaring above you. There are plenty of floating museum staff that seemed open to conversing with just about anyone, lots of history all around you on this former airbase, and a huge collection to explore. If it weren't for the fact that this place is a bit difficult to get to, I may have placed it in S tier, but there is one glaring issue with it that simply is unforgivable. It's British, which is just cringe, honestly. This British museum didn't even steal our stuff correctly either, so extra sad. A tier. Another big airport museum. These are great, but man, do they really knock you out. Love the chic of having an aviation museum on an old airport. It's giving Art Deco vibes, but the whole using your legs thing is so last season, darling. It is a relaxing train ride to get to the beautiful town the museum is near. A quick bus ride later, and you're in the wonderful aviation-themed neighborhood. I had the biggest smile walking down all the streets referencing various pilots. Beyond the huge line of planes leading up to the only indoor sections of this museum, they also have this gorgeous MiG-29 that I have seen a lot online. Beyond that, the staff was wonderful. They have a cute little library. I didn't notice any tours, but their collection makes up for it. They definitely have some unique ones. She is special. We'll leave it at that. You know what? Actually, work it, girl. Don't give a fuck what those haters think. Strut, vogue, more energy, more passion, more energy. A tier. Now we go to an unlikely candidate for this list, one who I really debated whether to include or not, but their collection was so full of interesting artifacts, I decided to include them. Also, this is my list, bite me. We're looking at a pretty standard-sized museum sitting in Berlin, which means it's a breeze to get to. It itself is quite the sight to behold, especially when you get up here. Just don't be afraid of heights. The balcony is a grate, so you can see straight on down. Get your blood pumping, you know? There's a BF-110, much larger than I thought they were, an HE-162 Salamander, the carcass of a Lancaster, and a few other artifacts. The aviation collection alone is fascinating enough that this museum makes it high on my list, but what sets it at A tier is just that there is more to see than just the planes. So despite the small size of the collection compared to other players on this list, it's unlike other museums that are just small AF and have nothing else to offer. After passing the B-52 at the front, you enter a nice, bright hangar, which I cannot stress enough how nice that is. So many times I've walked into a hangar that has been way too dark. Not here, though. It's bright here. It is just one hangar this time, so that's nice. It's Colorado, so, I mean, you could try and get there by bus, but I think being lost in the Bermuda Triangle would be easier than using Colorado public transit. They don't necessarily have a specific artifact they point to, but the things that have always made my little aviation heart flutter have been the B-1, which sits as quite the foreboding centerpiece on the south side of the building, and the X-Wing not far from that. Yes, you heard me right, an X-Wing. I agree, they're cheating, that's too cool. They have a little library, plenty of youth learning opportunities, kids' play place, and fantastic staff. Okay, now, down to business. This museum is small. Their collection is wicked, having some of the greats, but they are heavy in the modern era. If that's your jam, go for it. I highly recommend. But when it comes to having a good mix, it lacks. Not a bad museum, but would love to see a bit more spread in their historical overview. B tier. You guys know me. I am always honest with y'all, and now will be no different. This museum holds a special place in my heart. This place isn't small, so to speak, but it isn't gigantic like other museums on this list. It is, though, the hardest to get to. It is literally in the middle of a desert. Like, there ain't nothing around. Their big centerpiece is a beautiful B-29, but really their calling is early Cold War naval aviation. If you can't get down to Florida, I don't blame ya, but can get down to Colorado, then this is really the only place you'll get to see all of these forgotten birds. The volunteers here are always the kindest people, just super happy to see you come in. They sometimes have these really cute special exhibits. The last one I saw was for Black History Month. They set up a little corner with some binders full of their own research, honoring African American veterans throughout various conflicts. It was very well researched. You can feel the love that went into it, and I'd say that is sort of the vibe of this whole place. It is very unique. I haven't ever felt the same way about other exhibits. All others feel manufactured, rigid, more adjectives, you get the point. If you can, come see it. It gets a solid B tier from me. This is the largest of the floating museums on our list. She has the best view of Tower Bridge, and she doesn't even own a penthouse or corner office. Great location, by the way. Some great schools nearby, some fun museums and pubs. She's in her golden years of retirement, but still wants to rock it in the limelight. I love the pattern on her hull, I guess? There are some tours, but those I don't think hold a candle to free roaming the ship, and interacting with the volunteers strategically spread throughout. These volunteers are people of the times, and they share their stories with anyone willing to listen. Despite her size, you can still easily get through the museum within the day, maybe half a day. Bring your own food though. God damn, what they had was awful. Blech. It's like I can still taste it. Yuck. B tier.
The last time, I don't look nothing like no damn tow truck.
Ugh. I'll just stick with planes and ships. Oh, hi. When put in the context of tank museums, this place is vast, though in all actuality, it's pretty standard museum-sized. I have another great story about getting here and then back to Berlin where I was staying, all in the same day, but that's for later. Getting here via public transit is possible, otherwise it's about a 4-hour drive from Berlin. They have so many tanks. Yeah, no shit. but I'd say that the things that pop out at you are going to be their World War II collection. I hadn't seen a German tank in person before. Conceptually, I always knew that they were behemoths, but seeing them was eye-opening. They were truly land battleships. I couldn't even begin to imagine seeing these giants rolling at you, or more frequently, not rolling, just sort of sitting. I heard tours going on here and there, and they all sounded like they were having a good time. Otherwise, you can just lose yourself in the vast amounts of oil, dirt, and metal. B tier. Oh, welcome to the Great North, eh? Oh, don't mind the snow too much. Just hang a quick left at the end of the block and get yourself some Tims and warm up, yeah? Maybe after we can catch the game, eh? That was terrible, I know, just deal with it. Similar to the actual size of the populated area of Canada, this museum is equally as reasonably sized. Has this cute welcome area before opening up to their main hangar. There are some artifacts outside, but you can also see them from a balcony located at one of the far corners of the main room. Definitely a car-preferred route if you are planning on going down to the Red Arrow. Their C-47 and Lancaster seem to be their pride and joy. This was the first time I had seen a Lancaster in person, and if you haven't, and you have seen a B-17 before, then just be prepared to have your mind altered about what a true World War II heavy bomber can be. The docents wandering the museum floor were awesome at this place, and were even open to hearing me yap. That's special, because sometimes I can't even get my friends to deal with a quick yap sesh. It ain't quick. Shut up. The museum is very simple. It's a building full of planes, and that's about it. Apparently, you can have a sleepover there too, which sounds dope. Anyway, super family friendly, and although their layout is good, their collection isn't bad, getting there is tough. Great for a quick afternoon visit, but B tier. Okay, so before I hear any tip typing down in the comments, I'll remind y'all about the golden rule of this tier list. It's my list, my rules, bite me. Honestly, not too much to say about it. It was very corporate. Well, no duh, I get it, it's a corporate event, but there wasn't any pizzazz. Even the air show just sort of started. No fanfare, no nothing. I was hoping to get a bit spoiled. There also wasn't much there that was exciting to see. I got to see my first F-35 there, an Italian F-35A, but in terms of interesting stuff, not much. The Europeans there were not very chatty, but the Americans, oh boy were they excited to be there. I talked with them a bunch, but beyond the walking with no shade on a very hot summer's day, there wasn't much else to do or see. I got into a few planes and helicopters, gawked at the size of an A380 from the ground. You know exactly which airlines it was from. But honestly, the whole experience was kinda boring. This earns a solid place in C tier. I'm not even gonna waste too much of my breath here. I've been to World War II museums all throughout Europe, studied the differences in how each nation presents the war, maybe a video for a different day. Of all of them, by far, I know I'ma ruffle some feathers here, but oh man, the National World War II Museum was one of, if not, the worst. Let me paint you a picture. I was told that they are comprehensive, expansive, full of artifacts, and seriously blows all expectations out of the water. I didn't spoil it at all. I didn't look at pictures of the inside, nothing. I knew there were multiple buildings, and at one point was told that 2 of the buildings on campus were used to house the Pacific and European theaters. A whole building just for one theater. Now that sounds cool. I learned that they were an immersive experience, each room a tailored set piece to pull you into the history. Oh boy, did they really hype this place up, all to find out that almost none of that was true. Each theater gets a floor in one building, and it isn't even the whole building. The museum forces you to go on this story experience with a randomly selected real person who you can learn more about from specific terminals, which of course turned more into a completionist dream game rather than a learning experience. The individual rooms dressed up to match wherever you were supposed to be during the war was a fun gimmick, before you realized that they hadn't given enough space to actually tell a story. Each plaque had a thesis essay on them, and I was getting whiplash from speed running through the years of the war. I swear, you ran through 2 years per room. I mean, it was insane how many islands we hopped in one room in the Pacific Theater. We started one room talking about Guadalcanal, and by the end of the room I was talking about the Leyte Gulf. Sorry, I'll stay focused. Their collection of aircraft is good. They're in this huge room. Feels like you're in a fish tank or a lizard's cage, but they are pretty. I wish they cleaned them a bit more often. Oh, and if you are afraid of heights, this would be your worst nightmare. I'm not afraid of heights, and even I got a bit queasy up in the MC Escher-looking sky bridges. At any angle, the planes are just too far away to get a good look at them. This looks cool at first, but if you really want to see their planes, this kind of display is not going to work in your favor. F tier. And there we have it, my tier list of the museums I have been to so far. If you'd like to file a complaint, go ahead and type it up in the comments section below, and one of our wonderful representatives will be with you shortly. For everyone else, let me know your experience at any of these places, or maybe what you'd like me to cover next. Until next time, bye! Thank you all so much for watching. This was just a fun video I decided to create before going back to my usual content. I do have some more exciting stuff that I can't wait to present to you all. It's gonna take time. I know. It just takes a lot of time to do the research for these videos and then make these videos and then get them out to you. But I hope you enjoyed this one. Again, this one is supposed to just be fun. I don't mean any ill will to any of these wonderful museums or their staff and volunteers or anything like that. This is just a fun little video that I decided to make. If you have any ideas, go ahead and share them with me in the comments down below. Other than that, I'll see you in the next one.